Hello, and welcome to the Press Continue podcast, where we will be reviewing retro games, board games, different types of card games, any kind of gaming. Today, I am here with my co-host, Brittany.
Hello.
I am Adam, and our first game we'll be talking about is Golden Axe.
Yes, it was very golden and axey.
I don't even think that there's a golden axe in the game. That's
No,
kind
it
of
was
the
red.
Ironic thing. Ironic?
Yeah, it's ironic.
Yeah.
I ran from it too.
Golden Axe was released in the arcades June 1989, and then for the Sega Genesis home system on August 14th, 1989, and it was a release title for the system. Did some looking up and found the original price for it. It was $59.99.
Holy crap.
Yeah, games were expensive back then too.
Yeah, that's why I didn't have any.
And believe it or not, it's hard to find the original price of games
I don't
anymore.
believe it.
Yeah, you should believe it. Because I told you, so it must be true.
Alright, I believe it.
Okay. So did you ever play Sega Genesis before this time? Before we played?
The first time I played it was when you recently purchased it again.
Yeah. I was so excited when I got that game. I was looking for that for at least a few months, and kept finding it on eBay for way too much. And eventually I did find a great deal on it, so I was so excited and brought it home. Couldn't wait to play it, and of course, Finn was screaming. Drew needed something. I have two kids, they're named Finn and Drew. I don't think I got to play it until a week later, and that's kind of what spawned this whole podcast idea too, is I just wanted to play those old games again. I have a whole shelf of games that I've collected over the last year and a half, and I was looking at that shelf one day and I was like, man, I wish I could figure out an excuse to play this stuff again. So then I was like, Brittany,
Yes, I played it.
will you play these games with me? So now I get a chance to play them all. So have you ever played Golden Axe before?
I only played Golden Axe when you first brought home the Sega Genesis system, and I couldn't finish it by myself.
No. I actually only as a kid played it by myself all the time. I never had someone else to play it with me because my brother was out playing basketball or whatever the heck he was doing. And I was always at home playing games by myself. So this is the first time I've ever played it two-player.
That was fun.
It was a good time. So first we played the arcade version when we decided to play this. There's 3 characters to pick from.
Yes.
And you got Axe Battler, the barbarian with earth magic. I don't think anybody ever picked that guy. He's pretty lame. You got Tyrus Flare, the Amazon with fire magic.
That's the only character I ever play.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because it's a girl.
That's it?
I only play female characters.
Why?
Because I'm a girl.
Okay. I'll accept that. And then there's Gilius Thunderhead, the dwarf with lightning magic, which I always play dwarves anytime I get a chance, which I don't understand why.
It's because you're really tall.
I'm tall and skinny like an elf, so you'd think I'd play elf characters, but I hate playing elves. I always pick dwarves. D&D, Golden Axe, Gauntlet, all that stuff. I pick dwarves as much as I can, and I have never understood why. But there's a dwarf in it, so I gotta play it. And he is the only one with a golden axe.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, gotta pay attention to the details.
I did. My first impression of the game was that it was gonna be cheesy because of the way the characters looked. I
What do you mean?
didn't care for their underwear.
Did you not see the dwarf?
I saw the dwarf, but
With his dumb expression on his face where he's always got his mouth hanging open like, ugh.
the girl looked like an American Gladiator. She's wearing a spiked bikini. Then the henchmen that she came across all were wearing leather straps. They looked like they were in the Village People. And I was prejudging it based on that.
So you thought it was going to be junk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's one of the most awesome games ever made.
It was fun to play.
Totally. So we picked a character. Again, you're the girl, of course. And I'm the dwarf, of course. And we get into that first level. And fight a couple guys here and there, and of course, then we get to that first time you see Chicken Leg.
Which I don't believe is what it's called.
I'm almost positive.
I don't think it's a real
named
thing.
Chicken Leg.
It's one of the most ridiculous looking creatures I've ever seen.
Yeah. What is it? Is it a? It's like a half bird, pink
Lizard.
thing.
With a tail.
Yeah. I don't know. All I know is I want it.
And they look real good riding it.
All I know is I want it. I want to ride it, and I want to swing its tail at whoever I kicked off of it. And I think that's because when I was a kid, I played it in the arcade, and I think that might have been part of the appeal, is seeing stuff like that and being like, "What? I totally want to do that." I think that was like the big hook.
Seeing a creepy creature and wanting to ride it.
I guess.
I don't understand it.
I don't either. That was dumb.
I want to ride a chicken leg. That is the ugliest thing ever created. It's barely got a head. Its head is its body.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it shows up in 2 games that I know of. The other one is Altered Beast.
It has...
Which was made by the same people that made Golden Axe.
It has a saddle on its head.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has wings, too. What is that?
That's the chicken leg.
It's hideous.
But I think that's one of the hooks of this game, was that you actually got to ride something. You got to ride a mount, which was different than any other game that I saw of at that time. That and the magic. The magic was the cool thing. That you had all these different magics, and you always had to gather the certain amount of pots from the little creepy thiefy guys.
Which look like mice.
They ran like mice.
They scurried.
Yeah. But I always wanted to unlock all the different magics to see what they did. I was always curious to see them all. Which of course took more and more quarters. So you didn't get to see them all.
We'll have to play some more.
Nobody picked Axe Battler. He's so generic. So, yeah, we run around with Chicken Leg for a while. Of course, you get knocked off, and then Chicken Leg runs off to who knows where. And then we get to that first boss.
Yeah, he was tough. Not really.
You don't remember the first boss?
No.
The big bald guys with the bad 80s or 70s biker mustache.
Oh, yeah.
And the hammers.
They had, like, Fu Manchus or something.
Yeah, they just kind of stood there with their arms crossed, like,
Yeah, they waited for us to kill the other guys, and then they came in.
Yeah.
They were easy. Oh, yeah, now I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turtle Village.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turtle Village. The guys were really cool looking. They had big hammers. And, we killed them. Turtle Village was on a turtle.
Well, was it?
I don't know.
I think it was. I didn't realize that for the longest time. That not till this time. What is this? 20-something years later, that I realized that the whole game is on the back of animals.
Yeah, it tells you that on the map.
Well, you know.
What?
I always looked at the pictures on the map, but I never read any of the words or story. I'm like, hit the button, go to the next level. I want to beat more stuff up.
Is it because you couldn't read?
Maybe.
Can you not read though?
I did like, though, how in between levels they told the story and where you were going with the little map cutscenes.
Yeah, it was good to know what animal you were crawling on the back of to fight skeletons that were popping out of it.
Yeah. You know, this was the first time I ever realized, what is it, 1989, it's 2014, so however many years that is, I'm great at math.
23?
Wow. It was the first time I realized that almost the whole game is on the back of animals.
Almost 25 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it was creepy though because I felt bad for the creature we were fighting on. You're like, things are popping out of it. It's staring at you while you're knocking creatures off of it. It doesn't know what's going on. It's just living its life.
Yeah, like that, the bird that you don't realize you're on a bird until you get finally to his head.
Yeah.
And he's looking at you with that creepy eyeball, like, what is going on my back? Who gave me a reverse mohawk and cut all my feathers off? And why are these skeletons popping out of my skin?
Yeah, it was weird.
And if you think about it, halfway through that level, you stop and light a fire on its back.
And
So those
take
little,
a rest.
and take a nap, so those little creepy things can come steal your potions and your food.
Yeah, there's a few things that didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. And the bird takes you to Deb's house.
Yes, it does. Deb from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah, she makes you bracelets and. Or it is the big-haired '80s girlfriend of one of the creators.
Actually, what it was a bad translation. It was supposed to say in Japanese, but Japanese writing is backwards. So it translated to the word bed, but again it was backwards, so they wrote it Deb.
It's brilliant.
How terrible.
It's awesome.
How terrible is that?
Deb lives here.
Yeah. Apparently Deb is a big fat guy with no hair and a big mustache. What's up, Deb? I'm gonna kick your ass now. We're mixing up the arcade version and the Genesis version a lot. Because the Deb's house was not in the arcade.
What? Deb, I thought I saw you.
So somehow in the arcade, I felt like we only played 4 stages, but we were on the last stage and in the corner it says stage 9.
Yeah, that was off.
And we show up to fight Death Adder, who's of course the final boss, which this is the first time on the arcade that I played all the way through, versus the Genesis one, which I played through many, many times. And on the arcade one, it's a bunch of snakes that pile up in the top of the screen while you're fighting everything else, and then they become the Death Adder out of his helmet. And I thought that was a pretty awesome effect, especially for 1989, for them to do something like that in a video game.
Yeah, that's cool.
Did you even notice it?
Kind of. I remember the snakes.
Yeah, I remember the snakes. I was like, where are those snakes going? Okay, so the arcade version, we pretty much beat the whole game using about $2 worth of quarters, and it only took us like 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. Except for I felt that my strikes weren't connecting on the arcade version.
What do you mean?
I felt like every time I was smacking the crap out of someone, it wasn't doing any damage. It just stood there.
They just stood there and took it?
Yeah, and then they hit me back and I fell over and died.
Nice.
Yeah.
But being such a short game, though, 15 to 20 minutes, is it something you would play over and over?
Yeah, I think so. I did play it over and over.
Yeah, because we played it twice.
No, I played it more than just you and I playing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where else did you play it?
On Sega.
Oh.
At the old house.
Sega!
So we played both the Sega and the arcade version.
Right.
And I feel like I prefer the Sega version over the arcade because it seemed to move faster. And I feel like when I was hitting the bad guys, I connected more often.
Yeah.
On the Sega Genesis, it just seemed to have smoother gameplay than the arcade version. I don't know if it was because I was using a controller instead of a joystick, but I felt like I had more control over my character.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing right away, is that it was faster. It seemed like all the characters moved faster. I mean, like you said, we played the arcade first, and when you go straight to playing the Genesis one, it seems so much faster, so much smoother.
Yeah, the bad guys die a lot quicker.
It seemed easier.
Yeah.
But we didn't finish it. And we finished the arcade.
That's weird.
That is weird.
But on the arcade, you're smashing the buttons and get into it.
Well, that and the Genesis one actually has 2 more levels.
Oh, okay.
We did make it to Death Adder on the Genesis version, but we didn't get to see the last 2 levels, which is another level inside of the castle, and then you fight Deathbringer And the difference, it's the exact same character, exact same model, everything, different color, but he uses everybody's full magic, which is different than Death Adder, who just does that little sparky thing that explodes on you. So he is tougher, and of course he's got those two skeletons that you cannot kill as his minions.
I didn't feel like it, as you leveled, that the bosses got that much harder to kill. It seemed to stay pretty even across all the game.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Especially when you do that rolly run.
Rolly run.
Run, roll, strike.
The run and kick, or whatever it is.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's one of the cheap moves.
Yeah.
But it works. Especially when you're a kid pumping quarters in, you got to make that 25 cents last as long as you can.
Yes. When you're poor.
Yeah. So another difference in the two of them is the ending is completely different on both of them. Again, this is the first time I've ever seen the arcade ending, which I thought was ridiculous. Where they all pop out of the... You beat the last boss.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
Then, yeah, and then they show you the kids in the arcade.
With their dad.
Oh, their dad was there?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. And they're like playing the game, and all of a sudden the machine starts smoking, and then all the characters start popping out.
And running through some city.
Yeah, the kids run off, and then all the characters chase them. They all just look like they're running for the bathroom. And of course, the last one and the slowest one is the dwarf. Oh, Gilead.
Oh, Gilead.
Oh, Gilead.
You're just like Gimli.
Where on the Genesis version, when you beat Deathbringer, you come back to where the king and queen fall from their ropes, and the king and queen actually thank you for saving the town and the village.
Yeah, that was pretty grotesque. They were just like hanging there, king's upside down. I was like, how long were they hanging like that?
Till we got there.
Yeah, that was pretty messed up.
And
For a kid to watch, I would have been scared at 8 years old.
And if we wouldn't have killed Death Adder, they would still be hanging there right now.
They'd be dead.
They'd be popping out of bird backs as skeletons.
Yeah, that's how he gets them. He kills kings and queens.
And sticks them in bird backs.
Bird bags. Giant eagle backs. You know, it's kind of weird. They have a lot of Tolkien themes here. Giant eagles. Dwarfs that run slow.
Turtles. What?
Yeah. You know?
Were there turtles in Lord of the Rings?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe. There's gotta be a turtle.
We have to look for a turtle. So, yeah, after they thank you for everything, then you actually get to see a roster of characters where they'll show you the character that you fought or the character that you were and give you weird stats like their height, their weight, and their...
That's important information.
Yes, I know that I want to beat the game just to know how heavy and how tall someone is.
Yeah.
It was really strange, but it gave it a much longer ending. So, I know as a kid, I was like, wow, that guy was a Class B character. That's cool. Look, there's Chicken Leg.
How much Chicken Leg weigh?
He was heavy. I think it was like 190 pounds or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not very big.
I don't know. For a chicken leg, that's a big chicken leg. Yeah, I know I'm making paper noises.
I know I'm making paper noises.
Oh, something else that was frustrating about the Genesis one, though, is after playing the arcade one, you go to play the Genesis and all the buttons are backwards.
Yeah, that's true, because as soon as I hit the A, all my magic went away.
Yeah.
I was pretty pissed.
First thing she goes is to punch somebody, and instead she burned them to death.
No, I wasn't even trying. I was just trying to, like, you know, kick around, punch around before we got into it, and I just wasted all my magic on nothing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, don't press that button. Okay, now I know.
Yeah, and then I had to go kick those guys a bunch of times to get it all back.
Yeah, the little blue buggers.
The mice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the most fun things about the Genesis one that I never got to fully appreciate, that you don't get in the arcade, is duel mode.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how I almost beat you the first time,
Almost.
and then died twice.
Yeah.
But
I'm better than you at games.
I guess I'll accept that.
I had to put at games in there because
at life I win.
Ugh.
I'm killing it.
She's very good at that board game.
So when we were playing the duel mode, you kind of just use that cheap shot over and over again of the roll. I had to jump over you, and eventually it worked to kill me. But yeah,
fighting dirty works every time.
One trick wonder.
That's all. Hey, if that one trick works every time,
yeah,
why change it up?
I'm not going there. Female characters. I like playing female characters. And, she was alright. Kyrie's flair. I guess she had some flair.
Well, fire magic.
Yeah, she's kind of like... I wish there was more to her. She just kind of...
Like you wish she was fatter?
Yeah, I wish she was fatter. She was a longsword. It was fun to hack at things with, but...
Halfway through the game, though, you changed her personality.
I did?
The second you saw the dragons, you went Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah. She was the mother of dragons. I was riding one, screaming at the people, make way for Daenerys Stormborn. So, what was the use of all the pastels?
What?
What was the use of all the light colors for really dangerous henchmen? Why were they green and pink and purple?
Pastels. I thought you were trying to say pistols really funny.
No.
What's with all the pastels? Like, there were no guns in this game.
No, I didn't understand the choice of colors. It just made you want to ridicule the bad guys. It made me kind of feel bad for them.
Well, typically in the older games, though, is that the tougher something was, the crappier the color was. You'll notice that in a lot of games from, like, the 80s and the 90s, is that, like, the normal guys will be normal colors, then it'll get to the medium guys and they'll be kind of reddish pink, then you get to the harder guys and they'll be, like, bluish, then you get to the worst guys and they're, like, all gray or black. So I think that's probably what was going on. It was a typical thing at that time. Not saying it was a good thing.
Yeah, it didn't instill fear in me. It made me laugh.
Okay. Come on, you got 4 pages of notes there. You gotta have some gold in there.
There's no gold. We're talking
Maybe
about all this
golden axe?
No golden axe in this game.
No.
No.
Nowhere.
No, I don't know why they called it golden axe when it was red. Or maybe they're just foreshadowing to another game that they never released where you saw the golden axe.
There was golden axe 2 and there was no golden axe in that either, I don't think.
Cool. I guess they're confused in Japan as to what gold is. Must be confused.